Morning pals, it's very dark because it's only 7:15, which is quite early for me, and I should tell you as to why. I think I'm getting some contractions. That's freaking right. Things might finally be happening. Yep, definitely in labour, pals. Woo, it's finally happening. If you know me IRL, or you've watched any of my videos, you know that this will be relatively honest, maybe a little bit graphic, because that's what birth is. So if you're going to be grossed out by words like mucus plug and labial tear, spoiler alert, then this is not the video for you. However, if you want an honest look at my birth story with this tiny beautiful piece of human, then get yourselves ready. So the 12th of December was my birthday and he was due on the 13th. I ended up in hospital on the 12th because 2 days before I hadn't felt him move, which when you're pregnant they're like, if there's any change in movements, come on in, we'll strap you to a machine, the baby will inevitably move and make you look like a knob, and it's all fine. And as you get later into your pregnancy, they're a bit like, cool, if this happens, then within 48 hours we'll give you a scan. So on the 12th, that was when my scan was. Every time I'd had these episodes of reduced movements, nothing was ever wrong. Like, everything was absolutely perfect. He was fine. He just, like, I don't know. And we don't know. Maybe it's just been difficult. Are you okay? It's a lovely birth. So while I was there, they were like, because you've had so many episodes of this, we can, and you know, you're so close to your due date, i.e. a day away, we can give you an induction. And I was really against the idea of an induction, just because I'd read statistics that were like, if you have an induction, you're more likely to need like assistance or like an emergency C-section, and I was just not about that life. So I'd done hypnobirthing, which was really useful. Like, I'd done a hypnobirthing course, which I'd really recommend, in knowing that you can make these decisions for yourself. So I think if I hadn't done that and they'd have been like, hey, do you want an induction? I'd have been like, okay, because I would have just presumed that was the right thing. So then she was like, I can do you a stretch and sweep, which sounds like a really fun dance move, and I can assure you it is not. That will only make a difference if your body's actually ready, so blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. Holy mackerel, that was not a comfortable experience. This is not to put you off having one. I would do it again. However, don't expect it to be nice. People compared it to having a smear test. I think that would put someone off having a smear test. I've had a smear and it was absolutely fine. This is not like that, but it's okay. It's like really like a few seconds. Anyway, so what happens is they like put their finger in your cervix and like go round to sort of separate the membranes or something. I was 1 centimetre dilated at this point, so I was absolutely buzzing. I was like, ooh, we're on the way. I started bleeding a little bit, and I think she just sort of like nicked me a little bit with her finger, and it was okay, like it wasn't a massive problem, but I kept thinking, if I'm bleeding from having like a midwife's hand inside me, this is gonna be painful, but we'll get to that. I went home, bits of my mucus plugs started coming out. The only way I can describe it is it's like I sneezed in my knickers. It's like someone had flagged up in my pants. It's like sticky goo, and I was buzzing. I've never been so excited to see something weird in my knickers in my life, and I was just like, Stephen, come see, my plug's coming out. So we were like, this is it boys, let's get ready. I woke up on the 13th with a few pains, but at this point I wasn't sure if it was labour or gas, because a few days before I'd had like excruciating stomach pains, and I was like, oh my gosh, baby's on his way out. And I farted and everything was fine. So I woke up at like 7 a.m. and I was like, is this it? So I sort of laid there for a bit and I was like, yep, this is it. I thought they were quite strong contractions. Hindsight's 2020. There was nothing. They were tiny little pinpricks compared to actual contractions, but they were still quite uncomfortable. So I was like, this is it. If I'm going into labour, I want to make a good impression. So I did full face of makeup.
I'm in labour, so I did my makeup, not very well, but I did it for the first time in ages, because priorities. Also, my eyelashes need redoing, so I kind of look a little bit like Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove. Oh my gosh.
I got Stephen's sister to put my hair in 2 braids, and we were told that when you're in the early stages of labour, to just like carry on as normal. So we had some Christmas shopping to do, because obviously it's the 13th of December, and so we went to TK Maxx. Now, I'm like eerily calm at this point, and Stephen, who is usually the calming influence in our lives, is freaking out very inwardly. So we're in TK Maxx, every now and then I'll have to stop and just like have a little contraction and carry on. And so I'm just like, what about this for your dad? And Stephen's like, can we just go? Can we just go home? And I'm like, well, there's, it's not happening anytime soon. Little did I know, it really wasn't. So this is like between like 11 and 12 o'clock, and eventually I'm like, fine, we'll go home. We didn't buy a single thing. So we came home, and I'm just like making sure I'm eating, making sure I'm drinking. I'm just chilled watching films. I watched Emperor's New Groove, and then I'm like dozing between contractions. So at this point, they're maybe like at most 10 minutes apart. So maybe having like 10-minute cat naps, waking up being like, oh, that's not great, and falling back asleep. But it was nice, it was exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in the 5% who have their babies on the due date, of which I was one of them.
Apparently being in labour is kind of tiring. So I've had some food and I've just been sort of napping between contractions. I'm not really sure how, because they're every 5 minutes, but apparently I've done it and I've been marking them down on my little app. And now I'm about to have a bath, so it's all going good.
Yeah, we're like timing them on an app. And they get to the point where they're about between like 4 and 6 minutes apart. We decide to go for a walk to like our little local corner shop to get some cash out. So we've got some cash for the car park, because they don't take card, because apparently it's not, 2018 at this point.
So we were getting between like 4 and 6 minutes. So we went for a little walk, and they were getting between 2 minutes. But because I can still talk through them, and they're not quite long enough, they've still suggested I stay home. So having my second bath of the day. I had a shower this morning. I'm going to smell great. I'm getting a bit knackered now and a little bit frustrated, but it's okay.
So we know we're not sleeping, so we end up staying down here overnight. We listen to some of the hypnobirthing DVDs, and this is where we sort of like get a little bit more hypnobirthy. We've got like low lighting on. We've got either like relaxing music, or we've got the hypnobirthing MP3s, which were actually good. We listened to them a few times as like practices, but we always got the giggles and like made stupid jokes, and the woman said something and that bugged me every time and just took me out of it. Whereas when you're actually in labour, I was a little bit more focused, and it was actually lovely.
It's 3 a.m. We're tired. We have done massage and hypnobirthing MP3s, and we're no further forward, but we're also no further back. So things are happening. What I really want to do is swear a lot and shout, but Stephen's gone for a little nap. And nowhere in the hypnobirthing handbook does it say that you can shout fuck very loud.
Yeah, spent a lot of time on the birthing ball. God bless that round piece of heaven. We had some massage oils, so Stephen did like a lot of like light touch massage, and it was really nice. Like, I felt quite focused, felt quite strong, everything was great. Got Stephen to have some sleep, because it was like, you're gonna need your energy more than I am. Still in good spirits at this point. So then it's 5 a.m. and we decide it's time to go to the hospital.
We're going into hospital because I can't cope. It's been almost 24 hours. I'm so tired. It hurts. It feels like the baby's coming out my bum. It's hard. Even I can't even do my words. Even if I just go in and they just let me know if anything's going to happen anytime soon, or I don't know, give me something for the pain, would be great.
We head on in, and at this point I kind of know they're not going to keep me in, but when we had our antenatal classes, they were like, they can give you paracetamol in the bum, which I was absolutely buzzing for, some codeine, and just like make sure everything's okay. So we get there, I don't get offered anything at all in my bum, which is disappointing. And they also won't check me to see how dilated I am. And I know that how dilated you are doesn't actually really correspond to like how long you'll be in labour, but it's promising to hear that something's happening. So it was a bit frustrating, but whatever. Gave me some codeine, sent me home.
Please excuse me crying. We got to the hospital and everything's still just like plodding on. They've given me some cocodamol and told me to go home because things progress better at home, which I know is true, but it's now been 24 hours of contractions that I think the longest break I've had is 10 minutes, which means that's the longest I've been to sleep for in 24 hours. And then as we were walking out, one of the nurses was like, see you later. And she was like, hey, we might see you tonight. And I know she was trying to be reassuring, but I can't wait till tonight. Just everything hurts.
So on the way back, we get some Mackey's hash browns, best hash browns I've ever had in my life. They were so needed. We get into bed, I guess, for the first time in 24 hours. And I do my whole, like, I doze, I contract, I listen to my MP3s, it's all fine. Get up and have a warm bath. Would massively recommend this. The water is lush. Had to get Stephen to like pour like jugs of warm water over my bump because I'm friggin' huge at this point and I'm not submerged in the water. I look like a whale. So I'm listening to like my playlist, my like fun playlist. So I had like a relaxed one and then I had one that was like motivational.
You are sure to win.
2 o'clock, Stephen's parents came over with his sister, and if you'd have asked me beforehand if I wanted anyone over, I probably would have been like, oh no, that sounds awful, but actually it was some of the nicest time. We were sort of just all sat together, we were just generally chatting, and then every now and then I'd have a contraction and I'd hold someone's hand and I'd blow it out, and it was just nice. I think we were going a bit stir crazy. Oh baby, okay. We were going a bit stir crazy being in the house for so long with like nothing seemingly progressing. So it was quite nice, and obviously like Stephen's mum and sister have been in labour, so they could get it. And it was just nice just like chatting with them all. So I rang the hospital twice during this point, and the first time she was like, you seem like you're coping well. And I was like, I mean, not so much. But they do want to keep you home as long as possible, partially, I think, because of like beds and stuff, but also because when you're in hospital, your body's like, oh shit, what's this? And it can slow your contractions down. So I got it, but at the same time, I'm exhausted. It's been like 36 hours. I just want the baby out. Then it gets to the point when a lot more, my contractions have become a little bit more regular, but still not as regular as they want them to be. You know, sometimes they're like 2 minutes apart, and the next minute they're like 8 minutes. So there's no pattern. Turns out I was in back-to-back labour, which no one actually told me. I found out much later, which is why my contractions were not regular. But because no one had examined me, they didn't know this, so it's not like, you know, they were aware. So that was pain. At one point I stand up and I feel like a little pop, and the only way I could describe it was like my ovary had gotten stuck and was like, oh, you know, like it pulled itself. It sounds stupid, but that's how it felt. But there wasn't like a gush of water or anything, so as far as I was concerned, nothing of note had happened. At 5 p.m, I'm in tears. I'm like, Stephen, I can't do it. Everyone's gone home at this point. I'm like, Stephen, I can't do it. I can't. We need to go to hospital. I need them to help me.
So we're back off to the hospital because I can't do it. It's really hard and it hurts. And I'm so tired. So we basically begged them and asked if we could come in. I just am so tired and everything hurts. And there's only so many hot baths you can have. So I'm sorry if I haven't replied to all the messages. I've been busy crying and, you know, panting. But I really appreciate them all, and hopefully soon I'll have a baby.
So we get into hospital and they're like, okay, we'll give you the bum paracetamol, we'll give you some more codeine, you know, and it'll be fine. And she was like, I will examine you. So at this point I'm like, oh, thank goodness. So she has a look and she's like, huh, your waters have gone. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thought I would have noticed, but apparently not. So your waters have gone, and actually you're like 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. And she was like, it's amazing that you've got this far. No wonder you're in pain. So they're like, we're still gonna send you home, so it can progress. But at this point, I don't care. I'm happy that like all the pain's been worth it. Something's happening. Because none of us know where my waters went. She was like, if you've not gone into full-blown labour in 24 hours, you'll have to come in, we'll have to induce you. But because you're already so far gone, we'll just have to put you on the hormone drip, which is good news. But the bad news is you can't have a water birth, which is something I really wanted. So it was a bit of a shit sandwich, but still, we go home. And I'm like, let's stop off at Mackey's again. Because if you can't have Mackey's twice in a day on the day that you're giving birth, then when can you? So we go through the drive-through. Poor Stephen's trying to order whilst I'm screaming in the seat because I say screaming, that makes it sound a lot more dramatic. I'm like panting, mooing, making whale noises, just doing all I can do in the passenger seat. So we get home and I lose my shit. I don't know what happened. I just become completely delirious. I can't eat my McDonald's and I just keep saying, the baby's coming out my bum, Stephen. The baby is on his way. He's pushing himself. I'm like hysterical at this point because I'm genuinely sure the baby is coming. Again, turns out with a back-to-back labour, it feels like the baby's coming out your ass. Didn't know that, so there we were. So Stephen's like, oh shit, as you would be. Calls the hospital and they're like, fine, you need to come in or call an ambulance if you need to. So at this point, I'm crying, I'm panicking, I have none of my shit together. I'm saying to the nurse, you need to help me, the baby's coming, you need to help me. Like, it hurts. And she's just like so chill because at the end of the day, this is like her everyday job. She sees hysterical people all the time. So then she's like, how about you have a bath? And at this point in the day, I've had about 3 baths. Like, I spent a lot of time in the bath because it was the only place I could get like a decent relief. Hold on, Bambino. Okay, so apparently we're feeding now. Yeah, so I'm in the bath and I'm still like panicky. I'm like, Stephen, I can't do it. Before we went into the hospital at this point, I said to Stephen, like, you can't let me die. Don't let me die. I was just obsessed with the thought of dying in childbirth. And I was like, but you can't let anything happen to the baby. I was like, you need to promise me that you'll make sure we're both okay. Which is a big, like, there wasn't really anything he could do. But still, I needed to know that he knew that I wanted to survive this experience. So in the bath, and Stephen's like, you need to focus. He's like, look at me. And he's saying all the right things. And he's like, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. Then a switch flips and I'm just like, yeah, fair point. I'll just get my shit together. And I think part of that, again, is to do with the hypnobirthing. Because like I knew how to like breathe and stuff. I get really intense and like insular, and I'm Stephen's, every time I have a contraction, Stephen's like, look at me, and we're like looking at each other, and it's weirdly kind of sexy. And I'm just like really, really focused, and I breathe out, and I'm like a whole different person. So I go out and I apologise to the midwife, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. I've got myself together now. And she's just like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. So then they're like, hey, we're going to send you downstairs to like the next ward, along with this other lady. And I'm like, cool, amazing, let's go. So me and this other lady are like waddling down the corridor. We both have to keep stopping to have a contraction. Like, it's not a fast process. Weirdly, you don't go in the lift either, you go down the stairs. So yeah, we're waddling away. Next thing I know, her waters break in a gush. And I'm like, oh shit. We're just like, none of us know what to do. Anyway, turns out she ended up having the baby 20 minutes after that. It was her third, but still, holy crap. Anyway, so we get down to this new room and I meet a midwife, and she's lovely. She's so friggin' nice. I wish I remembered her name. She was just like really sweet. She was like, this is your room for now.
It hurts too much and I'm trying to keep my shit together. So
You're doing really well.
you're doing really well. We're in the maternity ward. I got my shit together a little bit, had a bath. I'm just breathing through it like a fucking boss. It's still going to be a long old while, I think.
And I'm like, I need something for the pain. And she's like, well, all you can have at this point is, what's the name of it? I keep wanting to call it meth, but it's not meth. It's the other one. Diamorphine, not meth at all. She's like, all you can have is diamorphine. It's like, if you have that, you can't get into the pool. So I'm like feeling shit, like, oh, I really wanted a water birth, everything's going wrong. But she's like, well, I'll just check you while you're down here. So she's like having a look, and she's like, oh, you're actually 5 centimeters. She's like, you can have gas and air now, which is what I wanted. And she was like, which means you'll be able to get in the pool. And she was like, I can actually send you down to the birthing suite. So I'm like, so weird. But then she says, but you know your waters haven't broken. They're bulging. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. So I'm like, all right, mystery waters. Have they broken? Have they not? Who knows? So we've literally been in this room for maybe 5 minutes. She's like, I'll be back in a minute. I'll get someone to take you down to the delivery suite. And it's quite nice. Like, I'm like staring at myself in the mirror, like psyching myself up during contractions. At one point, it sounds so silly, but like I'm really focused on a contraction. I'm like leant over on the windowsill. I look down and there's a white feather between my legs on the floor. Obviously not just hanging out, that would be weird. And I don't know if you guys believe in this, but the theory is like white feathers are left for you from like people who have died. So I feel like it's like a little message to say they're there. So I feel like it was a little message from my mum being like, go ahead girl, push this baby out. And that was like a little boost I needed. So we go downstairs to the birthing suite and I meet the midwives who are going to deliver the baby. So one is like this Polish lady who's like works all around the world, and the other one is a student midwife. So like cool, it's a teaching hospital. I was excited to have a student there. So I explained that I really want a water birth, and we give her the our birthing plan. I know that the birth rarely goes the way you want it to, but we had like, you know, we wanted it to be led by me and the baby. Obviously we're hypnobirthing, we wanted things to be like nice and chill. We had like aromatherapy oils, we had like fairy lights, bunting and like affirmation bunting. We were a little bit extra, I'm alright with it. But all these things were in the bags in the car, and this whole time Stephen had been like, when should I go get the bags? And everyone had been like, oh, you'll have time. Then when we got to this room, everyone was like, nah, you have to wait till the baby's born now. Oh, yeah, so like that was a bit frustrating, but it was a nice enough room. The bath had been drawn if you're American. But she was like, I don't want to put you in there yet because it relaxes you too much, your contractions, like you won't progress as much. So I'm like, what didn't you? So then she puts me on the birthing ball and gives me gas and air. God bless gas and air, you beautiful concoction. The first few times I was like, oh, process doesn't do anything. But then after that, like, you feel good. You just don't care. So I'm like sat on the ball. There's a high back chair in front of me backwards. I've got my arms on it. And I'm just focused as fuck. I'm just like getting ready. I'm like bouncing through. Stephen's like on the back of the chair, like giving me back rubs, handing me drinks. Like, it's great. It'd be a spa experience if it wasn't, you know, for the person trying to push themselves out of my body. It's eventually time to get in the pool, in the like big old bathtub. I'm feeling good and ready, and my contractions are like a little bit more intense. Oh, sorry, no, I'm lying to you. Just before this, she was like, I'll have a quick look, see where you're at. And she was like, your waters have gone. What was bulging, because they said something was bulging before, was this guy's head, because my cervix had thinned out. It's so sexy. Had thinned out all the way apart from one little bit was still thick. So his little noggin was trying to get through that, but obviously it couldn't because the bit was too thick. So that's what was bulging. So no bloody idea where my waters went. They went, or maybe they were never there. Who knows? So I'm like in the water. I've got like my legs akimbo.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's not coming out. I can't do it. Just go on now. Just go on.
And at one point, she's talking to me and being like, you know, this and this. And I'm just like, I need toast. I'm like, I need toast. Please can I have some toast? I need some food. Because I was absolutely ravenous. Holy cat. But like it happened suddenly. I was like, oh my gosh, I could eat all of you in this room. So they went to get me some toast. Stephen's feeding me toast. He's passed me my drink. Not once did I say a mean thing to or about Stephen. I did when I was having my sweep. he was like, it's okay, it's all right. And I was like, it's all right for you. You don't have a cervix. He's like, would you like a drink? I'm like, yes, please. Because I'm a polite bitch, even when a head's trying to push its way out of me. I'm in the water for a while. And then she's like, we need to get you out because your contractions have slowed right down because you're too relaxed, which is hilarious because I'm in labour. I'm not feeling overly relaxed.
We probably do, you know, the contractions may not really frequent as they were before. We're just waiting forever. What we may do, we need to get you off the pool. Just move a little bit and get back again. Because they are not, it's not going to come in with the contraction that you have.
So I get out and then I'm on this like, it's like a soft play bed. You know, like if you were at soft play, like the squishy shapes. In hindsight, this is the thing, like there was some things on my birth plan that were kind of ignored. I really, like one thing I was adamant about, however I gave birth, I did not want to be on my back and I didn't really want to be on a bed. So I was disappointed I ended up giving birth to him on my back because gravity is not helping you. It's just not, although it's the way like it's always done on TV, it just doesn't make any sense. Anywho, when I look back at the video, it went a lot better than I thought, I guess. But so I'm like, I can't do it, please just help me. Because at this point it's been 2 long days. Like this is like early morning on the 15th of December. I've been in labour since early morning the 13th. So I'm friggin' exhausted. I've not slept more than 10 minutes at a time. I just want my baby out. So, and sometimes like the way they were like, come on, you could do it, come on, Cody. It didn't sound encouraging. It kind of sounded like, come the fuck on, Bridget, just get this baby out. But like when I rewatched it, I was like, oh no, to be fair, like they're telling me I'm doing a good job and stuff. But and Stephen's amazing. He's just like stroking my hair. He's just like whispering that I'm doing well. It's just, you know, my contractions are slowed right down, so they're like massaging my stomach to make the contractions happen again. And they just keep saying push longer, push longer, push longer. And I feel like I can't push any longer. I shat myself so many times. Like, Stephen said he didn't notice, but I could see they were just like piling puppy pad, like they were just like pulling a puppy pad away and putting another one down because you girl was just pooping. Because I'm pushing. They're like, push out your bum. And when you push out your bum, you poo. That's what poo is. So, and I'm making like these animalistic noises. Like I couldn't recreate them if I tried. And at one point, the student midwife is like, try and concentrate more on pushing than on making noise. And like that to me, I didn't like it. It made me feel really sad. It made me feel like I was being told off. And they keep saying snatch your breath. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I'm like, like, I don't know. It's hard. Stephen said it like they've basically got hold of like either side of my vag and they're just like opening it as best they can to get his noggin out. And I'm just like, you just need to get him out now. Just take him out, whatever it takes.
Okay, all right.
The main midwife is doing like checks all the time, like checking on his heart rate, and usually she says something afterwards, but this time she didn't. And I was like, is he okay? Because she looks really concerned, and she's like, he is for now, but you need to get him out. So I'm like, holy crap, like this is not good. So I think that was like a push that I needed. Anywho, they got him out, or his head came out, and then they showed Stephen. But like obviously, when you give birth on the telly, like the head comes out and then it's out, cool. But in real life, it like comes out and then like slithers back in as soon as you stop pushing. So yeah, so they were like, keep pushing, and then his head would be like, bloop, just kidding. Like, oh, hello, no, I don't like it out here. So at one point she was like, give me a big push and I will make sure that baby's head doesn't go back out. So I don't know what she did to him, but his head did not go back in. So yeah, and then suddenly like there's another nurse midwife, someone, like there's another lady in the room, and the baby's here.
Come on, Cody. Come on. Don't push. Congratulations. No, but do you want the injection for your placenta?
But that's not it. They don't stop there. They're like, they like need to get my placenta out. So they were like, do you want the injection? And beforehand, I'd planned not to, but I was like, just give me it. Just get this thing out of me. I've got my baby. So I'm like holding him, and like his back's really soft, and it's really lovely. And he's like so tiny, although he did not feel tiny on the way out. And they're like really pushing it on my stomach to get my placenta out. It's really uncomfortable. Yeah, and like I'm a bit disappointed because we wanted to see it when it came out, and I don't feel like we really had delayed cord cutting, which is what we wanted. But you know, there's not really much that can be done about these things now. Steve got to cut the cord. It was cute. Then like she's like checking for tears and stuff, and I'm like, you're really hurting me, because I'm trying not to react because I'm holding my tiny baby and I don't want to be like and like scream. So I'm just like, you're really hurting me. And she's like, no, you're fine. I was not fine. Anyway, there was a small labial tear that she was like, if I sew it up, you're probably going to bleed more, so we're just going to leave it. And I was like, yeah, cool. I really just want everyone to go away and stop touching me at this point. I'm shocked I didn't tear more because it's my first baby, and obviously, like, if those of you who read my blog, I have vaginismus, which means like the muscles there are like a bit tighter anyway. So by all rights, I should have torn a lot more than I did, but I didn't. And with it being a back labour as well. And then we just sort of got left with the baby, and it was amazing and weird. And then I was like, oh, Stephen, do you want to have some skin to skin? And Stephen just like freaks out, and he gets really teary, and he's like, I can't, I'm going to drop him. I don't know how to do it. He was like really panicky, because I guess like it's a big thing for the dad as well, but no one really pays any attention to that because they're not the ones pushing a human body out of their vag. But eventually he did, and it was lovely, and I got to shower. The second you step off, you bleed again. Like as soon as you step out of the shower, that's it, there's blood everywhere, it's all a mess, whatever. So I'm like in my fresh jammies. Stephen's been down to like get the bag, thank goodness. So Ruben has an outfit to wear. And then we got like wheeled up to the ward. So he was born at like 3:35 a.m. He was £7.14.5, and they put him in like this weird like fish tank looking bed next to you, and you have to try and get some sleep. And we were discharged within 12 hours, and it was amazing. Like there was not a single thing wrong with him. I've had a really good recovery. Like generally speaking, things have been great. Yes, that was my birth story. I hope it hasn't scarred any of you. It was actually a really positive one. At the time, it didn't feel like it. It felt incredibly awful. It felt like torture. But in hindsight, and after talking to everyone, it was a good birth. Like, I'm really lucky. And I think a lot of it was because we did so much preparation with the hypnobirthing, and Stephen being so supportive and having a cracking baby. So, yeah. So I try not to make all my content baby related, but that's kind of what I do at the moment. Thank you to everyone who has messaged me because they found my channel through Trying to Conceive. It's been really cool talking to some of you and seeing some of you get pregnant. So, yeah, thanks very much. Bye!
I love you.